Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to the Curry campus of Southwestern Oregon Community College. The Friends of Curry Campus, a volunteer group, Vicki and I, work with the dean and her assistants to put this on once a month, and we have a different topic each month. I recognize some of your faces, you've been here before, and I see some new ones too, so welcome. We do this on the second Thursday of the month at 1 o'clock, and we have one more program this school term. And that's next month. We'll have Dennis Triglia talk to us about the Galapagos Archipelago. And he is a scientist, but he also brings fun stories. So we'll have a little bit of each. We wanted to have some announcements about the programs that are coming. Bill, do you want to go ahead and do that? Stand near me so the microphone can pick this up. By the way, thank you to Michael Gorse who films this, and then we can provide it to some online audiences.
I'm Bill Gorham. Many have been talking. You might have come to some of my talks about tide pooling and beach combing. As part of that, I showed my nerd liking the ocean and such. So I'm going to be presenting 4 talks in July, the second, third, and fourth Thursdays, 1 o'clock. They are going to be about marine invertebrates. Things like octopus, snails, starfish, jellyfish, corals, and weird deep-sea creatures such as vampire squid that are not vampires and are not squid. Sea pigs that are related to starfish. Headless chickens, they're not chickens. And giant acidopods that are size of cats. These are things that people are discovering out in the deep ocean now. So I promise that I will not put too much science, but more of the gee whiz, really interesting stuff that gets people excited. And so again, it'll be the 4 Thursdays in July after the 4th of July, so that it'll be the starting, I think it's the 9th. And each of those 4 next Thursdays. So it's going to be for people that are in the community, visiting, or living here, whatever. They're free, open to everybody. If you know kids that would be interested, please bring them along. And I will have some hands-on displays for stuff. Any questions, let me know afterwards.
Thank you, Bill. He didn't mention he's a marine biologist.
Oh, yeah.
And so he knows a thing or two about that stuff. And Vicki and Bill have taken many trips to Africa. And Vicki is so in love with animals. She has some great stories and she has some wonderful pictures. So please enjoy.
Thanks. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, we're going to talk about Africa and see some pictures. I've got a few short videos. I wanted to say something first about the African people. If you've ever been to Africa, you'll know what I'm talking about. They are so warm, welcoming, hospitable, soft-spoken, humble. They're just the most wonderful people. And they have a saying, it goes something like, once you come to Africa, you will return. And for Bill and I, that has been the case. We've been 5 times now. I never get tired of it. It's my favorite travel destination. I love seeing the animals in the wild, and also you never know what you're going to see. You never know what to expect. So when you're out on safari, it's just always it's always a surprise, I guess you could say. So, oh, and then I found this, another quote. There's several, but I love this one. It says, "You cannot leave Africa. It is always with you, there inside your head." And I think that's true. You know, it just does stick with you. So anyway, Bill and I, just real quick, our first trip was back in 2007. We went to Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Zambia on a driving trip with a guide and 9 other people. This is something I would not suggest you do if you don't know the people. It was very interesting. It was an international group. We were the only Americans, and we did not speak the languages that a lot of them spoke, but I think Bill and I were so in awe of what we were seeing that we were oblivious to what was going on in this van, and there was a lot of fighting in other languages. So at the end of the trip, we stayed over in Victoria Falls for a couple of days, and our guide was there, and everyone else had gone back home. And we walked into the bar, and she yelled out, it's my saviors. She said if it wasn't for us, she would have gone crazy. She said it was her worst trip ever, because what we didn't know is that these people were coming up to her at night and complaining about everything, you name it. And she was trying to keep everyone happy, and it was, but like I say, we were oblivious. We were just, you know, in awe of the animals. So anyway, that is not the way I would suggest you travel. Unless, you know, if it was a family or a bunch of friends, I think it would be great. But since then, what we've done mostly is self-drives. We rent a car, and then we drive around to the different reserves, and sometimes we go out with a guide, which is great because they're so knowledgeable and you'll learn so much from them. Plus, they can spot the animals much easier than you can. And then, so that's the way we normally do it. But that takes a lot of planning, to say the least. The second to the last trip we did, we visited 10 different parks. And that took a lot of planning on, you know, how far the drives were and all of that. So I wouldn't really recommend that if you're just planning a trip for the first time. There's lots of companies that just take you and do everything for you. You do nothing basically, but just go out on the drives. So anyway, let's get started. Let's see, I'm not sure which button to hit, the first one? I'm really good at computers. Okay, we're going to talk elephants first because they're my favorite animal, and this was our first encounter with elephants in 2007 on our first trip. It was absolutely amazing. The guide pulled up to this quiet river and didn't say what we were going to see. We expected it would be something that happens every day because there were other safari vehicles there. And then hundreds and hundreds of elephants just started pouring out of the trees, heading for the water. It was chaotic at times. Now here they're slowed down because they're very close to the water. But when they first came out of the trees, they were running. There was a lot of trumpeting. It was just chaotic. And the guides estimated that there were about 2,500, which is, it sounds incredible, but I have read since that this particular park, it's Chobe National Park in Botswana, they are known for their huge elephant herds. So this was, it was just an amazing experience to have so many so close. This was, I think, November. We have always gone during their winter, our summer. So always, well, actually, no, that wouldn't have been November. I think September. This was the latest one. We usually go in July or August. So, but yeah, just a crazy experience to have so many. And what we didn't know is there was a little line of trees behind us, and we looked behind there at one point, and there was just as many rushing to the water on the other side of the trees. So we weren't even seeing all of them. But now at times, like here, we were asked to move back. You can see they're pretty agitated. They put their trunks up to sniff and see, you know, what's going on. And a lot of them were quite fearful of the people. But there was every size, from tiny babies to big bull elephants. So it was really a crazy experience.
Is this something that happens like every day at a certain?
Yeah, it's basically every day. That's why the safari guys bring the people there, because they come at sunset every day to get their final drink. So, and they kicked up a lot of dust. At times it was hard to even see them. So, yeah. Okay, so the next encounter we had with elephants was quite different. We were with a guide. It was just Bill and I, the guide, and the tracker, who sits on an extended seat to watch for animal tracks. And we came upon these 4 male elephants. They were standing very still with their feet apart and their trunks down on the ground, not moving at all. He explained that they use the trunks as basically a stethoscope. They can hear other elephants from quite a long ways away, and they also can feel the vibration through their feet. So I had my long lens on when we first pulled up, and this guy, he came so close. I remember thinking, I wonder where he'll stop when he started walking towards us, but he didn't. He came all the way up, and this was the smaller one. There was 1 small one and then 3 full-grown bulls. The bull elephants will form what they call a bachelor herd. They get kicked out of the maternal herd when they're teenagers because they become disruptive. And oftentimes they will join with other males and make this bachelor herd. So this guy came all the way up, and the other 3 bigger ones came and stood right behind him. So it was like a wall of elephants. And then he, I can point it, he took his trunk and he started right here, and he went all the way around the tracker and then all the way back again, holding his trunk about 2 inches away from his body. He never touched him. The guide explained that he was imprinting and that he would always know this man. So this was just an amazing experience. We sat there for about 15 minutes. There's one of the bigger ones. Just watching each other, no aggression or fear, just curiosity on both sides. And then our next encounter, this guy, this is a bull. He's in must. That's when they go into a period where their testosterone levels go sky high, and they become very unpredictable, and they can be quite aggressive. You can see where he's got his trunk hanging over his tusk. That usually indicates that they are irritated. And he was blocking the road. We were with a guide this time. He was blocking the road and made it very clear that he was not going to let us pass. So the guide twice tried to inch past him, and each time, this is what he did. He started throwing dirt everywhere and just really making it clear that no, we weren't going to go. So we had to back up, turn around, reverse back the way we came. And of course, while we were there, we heard lions roaring, but we couldn't get to them because he wouldn't let us. So anyway, but yeah, you don't want to mess with an elephant in must. So this was another different encounter. This was, we were joined with friends from Brookings here. We went to a sanctuary where they had a couple of elephants that are very tame, very docile. They allow you to feed them, touch them, and you can get a kiss. And so this is Bill getting a kiss.
What do I know?
And you can see from his response that it was a really good kiss. It feels like a very heavy-duty vacuum cleaner just on your face. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Now this is a different trip and a different sanctuary. Not really a sanctuary. This guy's very well known. His name is Rambo. He is the most docile elephant ever. He lets you touch him, ears, anything, tusk, trunk. You get to feed him. And he has a girlfriend named Rachel, and she lets you only feed her. You can't touch her anywhere. But after they do this little dog and pony show, they go off into the bush with their trainers. There's 2, and they sleep in the bush. So they're never tied up or chained or anything like that. They're absolutely free to go. But they stay with the trainers, and I guess they said that at one point Rambo chased away a pride of lions, and on another time a herd of Cape buffalo. So they're very protective, or he is anyway. You can look him up online and see him. He's about 40 years old now, I think, and they live to be about 70, 75 maybe. And I don't know if you've read much about elephants. They are amazingly intelligent. They have many of the same emotions that humans have, like compassion, sorrow, joy. They have been known to visit the bones of dead elephants, and they will just stand there like they're, almost like at a funeral. They will sometimes touch the bones and pick them up and move them around a little bit. So just amazing animals. So this one, this is a young female. She came up to this tree, and she kind of, messed around a little bit until she found a comfy spot, and then she promptly fell asleep, which we had never seen before. The guide said they'll do this, take little cat naps. I think she was only asleep for about 3 or 4 minutes. And he said that's pretty common, that they will do that. So another thing we, had not seen. Also, just real quick, the elephant, a female will be pregnant for 22 months. And the females stay with the maternal herd their entire life. So they're surrounded by their sisters, mothers, grandmas, aunts. Whereas like I said, the males get kicked out when they're teenagers. So, okay, switch over to lions. This was our very first trip in 2007. This was it's a conservation effort in Zimbabwe where they're trying to relocate lions back into the wild, because a lot of people don't realize that lions are poached for their bones, just like elephants and rhinos are for the tusk and the horn. There are some Asian countries that believe that crushed lion bones will cure certain illnesses. So there is a big decline. Also trophy hunting, huge. But there's a big decline in lions in the wild. So they're trying to put them back. And this program, you go for a walk with these lions. They can never be put back into the wild because they get acclimated to being around people. But their offspring, the hope is that they can go back into the wild. So they're looking to see if these guys will hunt, which they did. They tried to take down a Cape buffalo a few days before we got there, and they're much too young and didn't have any success. But these two had just eaten the day before. So they're just like big kitty cats. They just wanted their tummies rubbed. They didn't want to go for a walk. It took a while for the guides to get them up. And then the guides gave us these little sticks. We're not quite sure what the little stick was supposed to do against a lion, but we all had one. And anyway, these guys were 9 months old. During the walk, we met up with another group who had some 14-month-olds, and we switched. And when they get to be 18 months, they can't do it any longer because they're considered too big. So halfway through, we took a break, and the guide said, who would like to have a lion lick water off their hand? And I was, me. So I went first, and Bill managed to get a picture of him licking the water off, and then in the next shot, he decided to take a taste of my hand. He wasn't being aggressive. He just really, I think, wanted to see what it tasted like. I felt his teeth come down, but they didn't break the skin because the guide yanked my hand out very quickly, which was very nice. And then the weirdest thing is Bill volunteered to go next. So, and then those are the little babies. We got to see them at the end. Very sharp claws and very sharp teeth. So we found that out pretty quickly when we tried to play with them. Okay, and this one I just put in because it just shows you how incredibly well they blend into the bush. Of course, none of the reserves are you allowed to get out of the car, and this is why. You may not think there's anything there, and there they are. So, and then this big, beautiful guy, I actually had to tone down the color on this because it was at sunset and it looked like he was glowing. He was very orange looking, so I toned it down. But he and another male got up shortly after I took that picture and chased after a female who wanted nothing to do with either one of them. So, and then it got dark pretty quickly, and so we let him go after that. But he was really a beautiful lion. Okay, switching over to Nile crocodiles. Just wanted to show how humongous these guys are. They can get to be about 25 feet long. And you can see how wide, they are. They're just enormous. And what amazed us is that this little lake where they were, these birds were walking all around. They never bothered them at all. I guess it's because they were eating the fish. So they didn't bother with the birds, but the birds could even stand on them. They didn't seem to mind. Crazy. Okay, this little guy is a dwarf mongoose. There's, I think, 4 different types in South Africa. They live in these abandoned termite mounds. And then this is the banded mongoose, which is much more common. We were driving along and they just came out and started digging. They dig for everything.
Okay.
They'll eat grubs and basically they'll eat anything, but they're very good at digging.
Okay. I just walked out of the room. Wasn't a problem. Oh,
and they travel in very large groups.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, no, it's good to know ahead of time, so I won't ask any questions that will.
Okay, leopards. We've been pretty lucky to see several. They do tend to hunt at night, so they are out during the day, but
Okay, good.
more likely you would be seeing them at night. And this guy was in a tree that was so far away, the people in the cars around us said they couldn't see him at all. So I was amazed that the camera, actually, it has a really good zoom, and it was able to pick him up pretty well. Now this was on our last trip. We were doing a self-drive, and we stopped to take a picture of this family of warthogs, and I didn't see this leopard until I put it on the computer. And what had happened was he was chasing a very large male. It looked like a pony. The biggest warthog I've ever seen. He ran from where the leopard is across the road. And then the leopard just stepped out, and I don't understand why he didn't go after one of these young warthogs, because they didn't see him, and he wasn't that far away. But he didn't, and so we drove down, and that was the best picture I could get as we were driving, because he disappeared pretty quickly into the bush. But the people we were renting the house from, in this particular reserve, there's only 3 leopards. And the guy said that he's been going there for 35 years and he's never seen one. So we felt really lucky to see that guy. Yeah. Okay, giraffes. This guy came into our yard, the house we were renting. I was sitting on the deck. He did not see me at first. He just started eating, and then it was like, all of a sudden it was, well, hello there. Just the way he, But he didn't mind me. You can see the horns at the top are called ossicones. You can tell a male from a female because his are bald. This is also probably an older giraffe. He looks older. And then this is a female. So that's the difference in the ossicones. Cool thing about giraffes is the males are taller than the females. The males are usually 16 to 18 feet. Females are about 2 feet shorter, so they're not really competing for food. And the other reason they don't compete is because the males like to stretch for their food, and whereas the females like to bend down. So there really isn't a competition. And of course there's no competition from other animals because they're so much taller. This was a tiny newborn. You can still see the umbilical cord, only probably a day or two old. They're 6 feet tall when they're born, so he was really a cute little guy. And then this, when they're grouped together like this, they're called a tower. And if they're on the move, they're called a journey. So don't know who comes up with the names, but okay, rhinos. Oh gosh, this was a big shock. We were doing a self-drive. Bill was driving along, and I just happened to look out my side window, and there was this mother and baby running right alongside the car. Quite a surprise. We stopped, and then they just walked in front of us and stood there for a few minutes and posed and let us take several pictures. You can see how big her horn is. That horn on the black market would bring in about $1 million. So it continues to be a huge problem with poaching. Some of the parks now dehorn. This one obviously did not. And we have been lucky to see mostly rhinos with their horns still intact. Here's a couple of young ones just sparring. They're not really fighting, but you can see, when you see their horns, you can see they're not full grown. Their horns are really not that long. Interesting little thing happened about a year, maybe two ago. One of the reserves in South Africa, they have rangers that go on patrol for the rhino poaching, and they came across what was left of 3 poachers. There were the tools, their boots, and 1 head. A pride of lions had come in and taken them out. So yeah, everybody was pretty happy about that. And this was an amazing sighting, brand new newborn. Bill and I were on a self-drive, and she had just given birth, apparently. He was so tiny. And when we went on and came back around about 2 hours later, and she was standing over him, just very protectively. So again, you can see her horn is quite long. There's a good example of one that's been dehorned. These all have been. The thing is, the horns grow back in about 18 months, so they have to do it again. This was a private reserve we stayed in, and I talked to one of the ladies that had gone out with the crew the day before to dehorn a rhino, and she said, honestly, I wish I hadn't gone. I'd never do it again. It was very emotional. They put a helicopter up, they find the rhino, they dart him from the air, and then a truck comes along with the chainsaw, and they take the horns off. But like I say, they're back, 18, 20 months maybe. But a lot of the reserves just feel like it's the only way to protect them, to keep them alive. So this was a different trip. We hired this guy to take us rhino tracking on foot, which I was pretty apprehensive about until we learned, in fact, that the white rhino is not really aggressive. It's the black rhino that is. And these guys only go in an area where there are white rhinos. So after a bit of a walk, we came across 4 of them. And they watched us very carefully, but showed no aggression at all. The black and the white rhino, there is no difference in the color. The reason these guys are white, are called white, is there was a miscommunication when the Dutch colonists came over and were hunting. They asked the native people the name of this rhino, and what they were trying to say was wide, because the lip on the white rhino is quite flat and wide, whereas the black rhino, it's pointed. And so they were saying wide, but what the colonists heard was white. So they said it's white and black, but actually they're the same color. So, okay, this was our last and scariest encounter with a rhino. We were doing a self-drive. We were on a very narrow dirt road with high embankments, both sides. We saw this guy down the road and started to go down to see him. And luckily, he saw us from a long ways away, because he immediately put his head down. This is basically, he's charging, and he started running towards us. And Bill was trying very hard to turn the car around on this very narrow road. It was very scary. I still don't know how I got this picture, because the car was rocking all over the place. But I managed to get that. And then the following day, we went out with a guide, and I told her what had happened, and she said, oh yes, that is a young male who was just kicked out by his mom, and he's mad at the world. So she said she had been charged, and several of the other guides had also been charged by him. And you can see by his horn that he isn't full grown. It's kind of like the moms, it's like kicking out your 18-year-old son from your basement. Same thing, and he wasn't happy, so. Okay, this was a really cool sanctuary we went to. Should probably turn down the striped ones are ring-tailed lemurs. The brown one is a brown lemur. And the orange-looking guys are squirrel monkeys. And Bill and our friend Chris both got to hold a bowl of food, so they were all over them. That was crazy. There were so many of them. And then this little guy was determined to get Bill's hat. He knew it was Velcro back there, holding it on, so he had to hold the hat the whole time because he just wouldn't let up. Okay, ostriches. Who knew they could be so aggressive? This is a male, and you can see, I don't know if you can see that far back, but his legs are red striped. That's when they are in a mating mode, and they can be very aggressive. As a matter of fact, a couple of days before we were here, they had to put one down because it attacked a family. This guy followed us. That's our daughter-in-law. Followed us, and his legs were the red legs. So he was acting aggressively. We didn't realize it. We were told by the neighbors, don't walk around without a big stick. And again, this isn't in a reserve. This is in a conservancy where there are animals all around, wild animals around the houses. So this is different than being somewhere like Kruger, where you can't get out of the car. So yeah, we had to be quite careful after that of the ostriches. And here's a little video. So the black ones are the males, and the females are gray. And when they lay their eggs, it's in a communal nest. There can be as many as 60 eggs in one nest, but only one male and one female will sit on the eggs. And the male always at night, because he's black, and so for predators, they can't see them so well. And then they both raise the chicks, but it tends to be mostly the male. Every time we've seen any older ones, such as this one, the babies are always with the male. And even when we've seen adolescents, they're always with the male. So I think they tend to take over more of the duties. Okay, Cape Buffalo, also another really aggressive animal, unpredictable. These guys, I don't know. I had never seen any with these markings like this. It kind of looked like a gang member. But they look very docile, and they can be. This, though, was a scary time. We were with a guide on a night drive, and I lightened this up so you can see them, but we found ourselves just suddenly in this herd of about 250, and the guide just turned off the engine and said, okay, we'll just let them pass. But it was scary because they were grunting and snorting and pushing against the Jeep. And they're big and strong, and they could have pushed the Jeep over, but they were pushing from both sides. I was very glad when they walked away. That was a little scary. And then this time, we were on a self-drive. These guys were on both sides of the bridge in the water, and we thought, no problem, we'll go across. But as soon as we started across the bridge, they came out. And that's how close. I mean, we could have reached out and touched them. So Bill just inched very slowly across the bridge. I mean, it took a while, but we didn't want to disturb them because I have seen videos of them attacking cars. So, okay, really handsome guy, warthogs. You can see that this is a male because he's got the double sets of warts. The females only have one set of warts. But I just love this picture because it's just so ugly. I mean, all that hair, and I don't know. But yeah, they are quite ugly. And then we got a really cute guy. That's Bill's finger he's sitting on. It's a dwarf chameleon. We were on a night drive with a guide, and he found him in a tree. And we were able to hold him until he started to change color. And then the guide said, no, he's getting stressed. So he put him back. So, okay, hippos. Hippos kill more people in Africa than all the predators combined. You don't ever want to get between the hippo and the water. They're just really, really nasty, really aggressive. These birds are called oxpeckers. They do a good job of picking off the parasites and the ticks. But on hippos, sometimes it backfires because, now this one doesn't have many scratches, but we've seen them with huge gouges and they're bloody. And when the oxpeckers keep picking at those sores, they don't tend to heal. So in that case, it doesn't work very well. But normally, they do a good job. And this one, I just love this. These birds were just riding on their backs like a mobile fishing pier. They would catch a fish and then fly back on and continue to ride along. So it was pretty cool. And this one, we were out for a walk. We heard, oh my gosh, it was loud. Our kids were here on this trip, and they heard this going on inside the house and came out. You can see the baby here, and these two were fighting over dominance of a pool.
And the baby was closer to him for a while.
So when we walked away, we continued on our walk and came back at least an hour later, and they were still at it. So those fights go on for a long time. Okay, zebras, just to me, one of the most photogenic animals. I love their black and white stripes. This is a 2-week-old baby. Their legs at birth are almost as long as the mother's, and that works out really well if they're in the herd and they're running from a predator. The predator basically only sees the legs, so he can't tell the young ones from the adults. So that works well for them. And the babies always are very fuzzy on their bum, for a while anyway. And when you have a group like this, it's called a dazzle of zebras. And this is our granddaughter. She was with us on this trip. She was only 4, and her favorite animal was a zebra. So we would walk down to the neighbors. They put out this green stuff. It's called lucerne. During times of drought, they will feed them, and it was quite dry. So yeah, so she loved going down there to see them. Okay, the baboons. Okay. Before we left on the trip, my son, who came with his family with us, this was in 2019, got a book and was showing the girls, one was 4 and one was 9, showing them the different animals that they might see. And in the back of the book was a section with the footprints of different animals. So he noted that the baboon's footprint was exactly the same size and shape as Zoe, the 4-year-old. So she was saying, am I a baboon? And anyway, so we were driving through Kruger. We started to cross a bridge, and this huge troop of baboons came out from both sides. And Zoe rolls down her window and starts yelling, hello, family. I came a long way to see you. There's my cousin, you know, Dad, don't hit my cousin crossing the road. And there's my mom with my baby sister on her back. And went on and on. Anyway, we were laughing so hard I didn't take many pictures because I was. But anyway, this is, they stopped to groom, and they were swinging on the trees and doing all kinds of crazy things. So, and then just real quick, a few of the antelopes you might see. This is a water buck. I like them because they have a heart-shaped nose. And then this is an Inyala. Just wanted to show the difference between, that's a male and that's a female. They look totally different. And it never changes. I mean, it's not like the female. This is a full-grown one, so she's not going to get dark like the male. They just, very, very different. And this is a kudu. That's one of the larger. The largest is the eland in South Africa, but these guys are huge. That's our other granddaughter showing a little trepidation at the size of the kudu. They would routinely come in our yard along with warthogs, zebra. Like I say, this was a specific place where, you know, there are animals roaming around the houses. Okay, this is a honey badger. I don't know if you've heard about them. They are the fiercest and most fearless animal in Africa. This guy's quite famous. His name is Stoffel. You can see him online. We went to a sanctuary to see him, and he is an escape artist. Although I just read that he is getting up there in years, so his escape attempts have gone way down. But he was, you know, escaping constantly. He would take a tree and pull it over to the wall and climb up the tree and be gone. So they decided to get him a female, thinking that that would, you know, settle him down and he wouldn't keep trying to escape. What he did was immediately drug the female over to the wall, stood on her back, climbed over. So, yeah. But these guys are, when I say fearless, they will take on a lion. I saw a video where one was actually fighting against 3 leopards, and the leopards backed off. So they are not very big. They're about the size of a skunk, but they just have no fear whatsoever. So,
Vicki, what's the name of that one?
Honey badger. And we have, of course, the American badger is also known for being pretty fierce, but these guys are exceptional, I would say. So a few birds, the yellow-billed, hornbill, then there's a red-billed one as well. This one's pretty common, beautiful bird. When he's in flight, you see just this brilliant blue as the underside. It's really bright blue. Lots of different kinds of kingfishers, though this one is the most, colorful. And then I love this guy. He's got that cool head thing going, and I just think he's a cool looking bird. Oh, this is very sad. The vultures. They are, gosh, they are honestly worried that they're going to go extinct. It's become such a huge problem because a lot of the local people are poisoning them. And as a matter of fact, last year in Kruger, some of the locals laced a elephant carcass with poison, and 123 vultures died, and they were able to rescue 83. So that's how many will be on an animal that size, and they were all poisoned. So it's a very big deal because these guys are the cleanup crew, you know. Without them, there would be dead animals all over and disease would be spread. So they may not be the prettiest bird, but they are super important.
Why did they try to poison them in the first place?
Various reasons. Some of it is superstition. They believe vultures are evil. There are also some the people that believe that if you put a vulture head under your pillow, you will have virility. So yeah, it's just a big problem. And I also read that in India, it's also a huge problem. So these guys are pretty cool looking. It looks like he has hair on top of his head, but it's actually feathers. And then his relative is the helmeted guinea fowl, and he's got a hard thing on top of his head. And the fish eagles, they remind me of our bald eagles, really beautiful birds, and always, of course, hanging around water. And these guys, we could not figure out what these white things were. They were way across a lake, very far away, and we got out the binoculars, and it's the first time we had seen a double-decker nest. So she's got 4 pretty large chicks in there. And to finish off, this is a toad tree. They're a bumpy fruit, and the native people will sometimes mix the milk from the pods with regular milk, and it makes yogurt. But we were told if they mix too much of the milk from the pods, they will get quite ill. So not something you want to do wrong. So that's all I have. So. Okay.
About the gift.
Oh yes, you brought this. Yeah, and what is your? What were you saying that the person?
Well, we were in South Africa for 4 years, from '91 to '95, working at the U.S. Embassy as a agriculture attaché. So I traveled most of South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and some of Botswana. So I brought that along. Offered to be auctioned off for the lowest penny.
The lowest date.
The oldest penny, yes.
The oldest penny in the room. So
Oh my God.
check your pennies and see. And real quick, I just wanted to point this out. He brought this as well. Giraffes, believe it or not, can eat the leaves on these crazy spiked things. They curl them. They have a very long tongue, and they curl them around, and they can eat them without being stuck. So, and then there's just some stuff up here. I didn't bring much, but a few things if you want to take a look. And that's that.
So that Zulu basket is over 40 years old.
Oh, wow, wow. That is great. It's a beautiful basket.
I guess I can act as the auctioneer and we can go around and get the dates.
Oh, there you go.
Does everybody
Boy,
have
I
their,
took all mine out. Do you have
does
any?
everyone have their penny out?
I know. I took all mine out. I don't know where they are.
Let me just ask, who thinks they have a pretty old penny? Who thinks they do? What date is it?
79.
79. Does anybody have anything older than 1970?
That's a problem.
I have glasses.
Being able to read it.
Can you not read it? Oh, there's a 76. Anything older than 1976?
Old penny.
It has to be a penny. A reminder. 1976. 72. Oh. Wow, did you bring your whole piggy bank?
Oh, 77. Thank you.
Okay. Well, what do you think, group? Does it go to the lady in the back with the 1972 penny?
She's still reading it.
67, you have to look at it.
Oh, 67?
I think, but I'm not sure.
Does someone have really great eyes? They can verify that? Oh, there's, a lady has a magnifying glass.
Oh, perfect. What's that?
Take a picture of the penny and the
Yeah, take a picture.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It is 67.
67.
Wow, that's old.
All right, I guess 67, going.
Going.
Oh my God. Okay, 61.
Somebody had a 61?
61. Can someone verify that it's 61?
Who has the 61?
The lady in the black.
Oh, in the very back? Oh, there. Okay.
There was a penny. 33 had one.
61, 1961.
Going once? Going twice?
I think she's got that fair and square, don't you? Yeah, okay. Wow, what a prize, what a prize. Were there any other questions for Vicki before we?
Yeah.
Okay.
When are you going to get?
Elephant that was blocking the road.
The elephant that's blocking the road? Uh-huh.
Do you think that he was trying to protect the people from going to the Pride of Elephants?
No.
Pride of
No, he was in must, so he was just angry. Yeah, no, they'll do that. Yeah, because the lion actually didn't start roaring until we'd been there for a bit. So he just, and he was very aware of us because he would be somewhat calm until we inched forward. Every time, and he only did it twice, the guide inched forward, and then that's when he started throwing the dirt everywhere and just going crazy. And then he'd kind of settle down, and then he'd inch forward again and go through it all over again. So yeah, that's just the way they act when they're in must. So, yeah.
Notice Rambo, it looked like his tusks were crossed.
Uh-huh.
Is that normal or?
It happens, yeah, but I don't think it's very common. Because even what they call the big tuskers usually are just straight down, and sometimes they almost touch the ground. Yeah, his cross, which he was such a cool guy. Yeah.
What's the purpose of the horn on the rhino that you said people have cut off?
Oh, the purpose of it, or why do they cut them off?
Yeah, why?
Oh, why is for the poaching. They're worth.
What do they poach it for?
They use it for medicinal purposes, supposedly. It does nothing. It's just keratin. It's like your fingernails. But superstitious people in different countries believe that if it's ground down, it can be used for medicinal reasons. But you know, when they lose their horn, of course, that's their defense. And not only that, but they use it to dig sometimes. When they're foraging for foliage, they'll use it. So it's really, to me, it's very sad to see them without the horn, but I get it. I mean, because Kruger alone loses at least one rhino a day, every day. So it has gone down in some of the parks, but in others it's just, and they do have rhino patrols, like the ones that got eaten by the lions. So they are making progress, but still, these parks are huge, and they can't be everywhere, at once. So, and they're open usually. There's no fencing. So, anyway.
Have you seen snakes over there?
What's that?
Snakes? Have you seen any?
Snakes, yeah. That is one of the reasons we always go during their winter, because the snakes are in hibernation. We've seen a couple, but yeah, probably only two in all the trips we've made.
Leaves on the trees.
Yes, there's many good reasons to go during the winter. Much easier to spot the animals because the foliage is not there. Very few, if any, mosquitoes. We only took malaria medication on our first trip. We've never taken it since because we've never seen a mosquito. But in the summer you will. No rain in the winter. What else? I just don't understand why people go, well, heat. If you go during their summer, it's quite hot. We even had in 2019, we had a couple of days that reached 100, and that was during their winter. So, yeah, I really don't know why people go during the summer. It's really, really warm. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Would you give a price of how much a trip costs?
Oh, yeah, boy. That varies a lot. Yeah, you can go, there are a lot of budget trips, which are pretty inexpensive, but you will be camping in a tent. And then you can go all the way up to really, really expensive lodges that are really, really nice. And everything in between. It's the accommodation that makes the biggest, is going to set the price, because that first trip we did was pretty inexpensive back in 2007. I don't remember how much, but yeah, I don't know. And then this last trip we did, well, the second to the last, we stayed at 10 different parks. So each reserve charges a different price, but it usually will include all your meals and 2 game drives, because you will go out in the morning and then again in the late afternoon, and then you get to see the nocturnal animals as well. So, yeah, they're always running specials. Travel Zoo is a great one. If you go on there, they've always got deals. So, yeah.
Well, I was curious about the hippos and how they actually kill people. They didn't look like they had a lot of teeth. Like, do they stampede them?
They have, they do have teeth, and they have a huge jaw, and they're just, we had friends that did the same trip we did in Botswana, where you go in a makoro. It's a wooden canoe, basically. And I remember when the guides heard the hippos, they took us well away. Our friends just did it, and they got stampeded by a hippo. They ended up, the water is very shallow, so that's not a big deal. But they did have to get out of the boats and run. And then the hippo gave up. But I've seen hippos videos where they'll even chase a boat. And they're just mean. I mean, like,
About hippos. I was just curious how they
chomp them, basically. Yeah. And there are quite a few native people that are killed by them because they're fishing, and they don't realize that the hippos are there, and they're just really territorial, and they'll just really chomp them. Yeah, so.
It's so odd.
When are you going again?
I don't know. When are we going again? No plans at this point. Yeah, but I'm always ready to go. I'm always looking at sites, that have deals. I would love to go to Tanzania. We have not been there, and I'd really like to go there. So.
Why not Kenya?
Kenya was definitely on my list until I found out about the yellow fever vaccine. It is not recommended for people over 65. They say it can be almost as bad as the disease. So that's off my list. Yeah. It was funny. I met a woman in China. She was a doctor, and she was planning on going to Kenya, and she wrote to me and said, I just found out about this, and I'm not going now. So then I read up on it, and yeah, it's a real thing. And you do have to have the vaccine, or at least as far as I know, you should. But over 65, it's really hard on you, I guess. So that's the only reason. I would love to go to Kenya otherwise. I
You
miss
stayed
my
at
chance.
Big Falls. Did you go on a boat above the river?
On the Zambezi? Yeah, no, we just did the walking on both sides. I don't think we were on the river. Well, we might have been at one point. I can't remember. That was a long time ago.
Another question back here.
Another one? Yeah.
Just you were talking about vaccines or things to know before you go. If and he was asking kind of prices and stuff. So if some lucky people here were thinking of going sometime, is there in your experience, have you found for people that are not as knowledgeable, is there like a travel guide, you know, they don't really have travel agents anymore, but somebody who would tell you those things, like as you're looking to book tickets or book trips, there are people that will help you make sure you have the right
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There's, oh gosh, there are so many guides that do the trips in every one of the countries. And like I say, the price can vary, you know, so much. But yeah, we've never done that. We've never gone through that. I've just done it myself. But I know that they will answer all your questions, and yeah, they really take care of you. And then if you do that, like I say, you know, they'll pick you up at the airport. You don't even have to rent a car. They will feed you 3 meals a day and take you out on 2 game drives, and everything's done. So that, to me, if I was doing it on a first time, I would do that.
Sometimes you can find, like, on Facebook or other social media sites, there'll be a group of people that have gone to that, and so you can ask questions, and they'll say, you know, what I wish I would have brought, what I didn't need, so.
Yeah, I think TripAdvisor does that. Yeah, it's like a forum, and you can ask questions, and a lot of times they'll be the same questions you'll see, you know, that you have. So yeah, there's tons of information out there. So.
What types of cameras or recorders do you recommend?
Oh boy, I love mine. It's actually a point and shoot. It's Coolpix. Mine is the older one. It's a P900. They now have a 1000 and a 1100, I think. What I love about it is you don't have to change lenses. It's got an amazing zoom. Even my old one, my 900, has an amazing zoom. So
It's a Nikon.
It's Nikon, yeah, but Coolpix is it's a Nikon. Anyway, I do not like messing with changing lenses. Things happen so fast, you know, you really want to have just to be able to zoom. So to me, and I have read many people on these forums that suggest that same camera because for a safari. So, yeah. That's just...
Well, Vicki, thank you for sharing your stories and your
welcome.
pictures. And
You're welcome.
it's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being such an attentive and curious audience. So come back.